In this tutorial, I'd like to talk about form in the Sonata in G major by Domenico Cimarosa. This is also a selection from the ABRSM Grade 4 syllabus. However, this sonata is in a completely different form than the Benda selection that's also covered in this playlist. Cimarosa is firmly in the classical period. He lived from 1749 to 1801. However, he's drawing more on the binary form that is typical of Baroque sonata movements or sweet dance movements. And so it's in two equal sections. There's some shared thematic material and some key relationships that I'd like to talk about, but it doesn't have the sections that we typically associate with sonata form, such as exposition, development, and recapitulation. I will talk about periodic phrases. He does some interesting things with periodic phrases in this piece, and I'll demonstrate some of those key relationships. So if I play the first phrase, so we arrive back at G major. So clearly it covers the same thematic material twice. The first time takes us to the dominant, starts over again, and then the second time we arrive back on the tonic. It's basically just a broken chord pattern. You can't really talk about a melody. It's this chord, a subdominant chord, a tonic chord, and then the outline of the dominant chord. Tonic, subdominant, tonic, dominant, seventh, tonic. So I like to think of it, I like to describe to students the first half sort of feels like it's opening, it's an invitation, but we're not through the door yet, and then the second half closes once we've arrived and gone through the door. Then the second phrase, he does modulate. He modulates to D major so that the first half will end in D major. And here we are. Because the third measure introduced a C sharp, we now feel like we've arrived in D major as the tonic. What he does in the second half is he doesn't repeat, it's not a recapitulation, it's completely new material, but he starts in the parallel minor. So we started in G major, the second half starts in G minor. But listen to how this phrase is structured. It does sound like it needs to keep going. This ascending pattern doesn't make it sound like it's finished, but we are playing a tonic chord in G minor. And then we've arrived on the dominant chord, D major. Whether it's G major or G minor, the dominant is D major. So what this does is, by sort of reversing the order of the phrases, this D major chord allows him to immediately go back to G major. And that phrase I just played, even though it's not the opening theme or the first thematic material, it does appear in the first section, so we hear this relationship between the first half and the second half, but in different keys. That's right after we modulated to D, and this is right after he's taken us home to G major again. So Just to review, we have a theme that basically outlines some chords. What Cimarosa is doing is he's taking the fact that this D major chord is a function no matter whether it's G major or G minor. So he can pivot and go different places using that dominant chord. Here are the chords in G minor. But this dominant chord is still the same. And that's how he's able to wind through different phrases. So a very different sonata form. It's not the classical sonata form, but it hints at certain attributes that we see in the Baroque and classical periods.